Explosive growth, exhausted founder, why success feels like drowning. Every entrepreneur sails through predictable phases, and once you learn to recognize them, everything changes. I'm Lynette Young, and this is the Entrepreneur's Voyage. Whether you're starting, soaring, sailing, or somewhere in between, you're in the right place. Stop surviving your business. Start navigating your journey. Let's paint the picture. Your revenue has doubled last quarter. Prospects are reaching out to you instead of the other way around. You've hired 3 people in the last 2 months. Your calendar is packed with opportunities and you don't even have time to evaluate them all. Everybody wants a piece of what you're building and what you're doing. This should feel like success, right? But sometimes you're going 55 miles an hour and your business is going 65 miles an hour. And you may start off on the same starting point, but the further you go, the further it creeps out in front of you. If you don't step on the gas or change course, you're never going to catch up. Sometimes success feels like drowning. There's a disconnect. With success, sometimes it feels like quality slips despite your best efforts. New team members need more hand-holding than ever before, and you just don't have the time to provide it. The systems that worked for serving 10 clients are buckling under 50. You've become the bottleneck. Congratulations. You are an owner-operator, and every single decision waits for your input. Every project needs your review. Every client expects your personal involvement. I have been there, and I am currently there. This momentum seemed effortless months ago, and now it pulls you faster than you can steer. Explosive growth can be the most disorienting phase of entrepreneurship. I will say, when people look at our Venn diagram of the 7 C's, everybody's like, soaring should be in the middle. That's where everyone wants to go, but not when your company is pulling out so far ahead of you and your team cannot catch up. When you're in the soaring C, you're not really struggling to generate revenue anymore. You're struggling to hold on to that roller coaster and that rocket ship. And that success exposes every weakness in your foundation. The counterintuitive truth here is when your winds fill up the sails more powerfully, you need the strongest grip on your operational fundamentals. Success does not create breathing room. Take it from me, you get busier than ever. It creates operational debt that compounds daily. Not exactly the kind of bank account I'm looking for. So in the soaring C, you have a very unique sail configuration, right? We are talking about 3 main sail elements and 1 head sail element. And in sailing, main sail is your power. It's what propels you forward. And your head sail is what causes direction. What heading are you going into? So in the soaring phase of the 7 C's, you have 75% of your focus is in mainsail. Process, progress, perseverance. And only 25% is focused on your head sail, which is your direction, your prosperity. This is the mirror opposite of the starting C's split, right? The core demand here is that operational excellence matters 3 times more than strategic vision during explosive growth. Obviously, your vision is rock solid, right? You are on a rocket ship. You are on one of those cigarette boats that goes really fast kind of thing. You're not on a little like rowboat. This is when you need to buckle down. Most founders get this backwards. They figure when they're explosive growth and things are getting really big, the engine is going faster and faster. They will fixate their vision on wealth and impact while their operations quietly collapse. Soaring is when companies fail and collapse the most. They cannot survive under the weight of their own success. And I do not want that for you. So let's go through the 4 P's, and they are process, progress, perseverance, and prosperity. We're going to click through them one by one, and then we're going to see where we can help you go forward from there. Process is building the business systems before you think you need them. I talked about this in the starting C, and everybody wants to come up with their mission statement and all those things. The power in starting is profits. Some of the power in soaring is process. This is where the founder's bottleneck shows up every time. If you're an owner operator and not just the owner and shareholder kind of person within the company, if you're actually operating within the company, I can promise you, you are the bottleneck. Every decision waits for your input. Every client needs your involvement, and you have to put your stamp of approval on everything. Every quality check depends on you. Number one, you can be a control freak and you're the one holding on to it, no matter what the talent and expertise and capabilities of your team are. Or number two, you haven't found the correct 2IC, the second in charge person, to be able to take these things off of your plate. I didn't know how to build my own team or ask for help. I was soaring, but I was really drowning. Honestly, we're in growth mode again at my software company, so we are hiring more people. Every time we have to hire, we definitely learn from lessons and failures past. And this time around, we really need someone that has both autonomy and the ability for clear communication. I need to get things off my and the other founder's desk that will make the biggest impact for us to be able to go forward, so that we're able to hold onto the steering wheel and just power through when we're being propelled into the business in a soaring capacity. Symptoms of you being the bottleneck, there's probably a lot, but if there's a calendar full of team meetings or just meetings in general that don't need you, that's you being the bottleneck. People can do things without you. They can come back and give you updates or reports on things. You don't have to have your face in every single thing. If your team is waiting for approval that they are very well qualified to give, then you are a bottleneck. I'm a Clockwork certified partner. So there is a system in there called IPO, right? Information, permission, and outcome. If you have your team members and if they have all the information they need to make a decision, you give them the permission, and this is usually the part that's lacking. If you give them the permission to make the decision, and then you tell them what you want the outcome to be, then let them go. Next up in process is documentation urgency. This feels like busy work, right? So like, oh my gosh, we are so busy, we can't take time to document what we're doing. That's the kiss of death. This thinking kills businesses. I can tell you with a client type that I serve in my software company, this is exactly what they think. That when they get so busy, they just need to power through the doing of the work and not the documentation of the work. If you think that you'll document it later, you won't. Even if you make time to document things while things are soaring, even if it's a season of your business, maybe your business isn't soaring like 4 quarters out of the year, but you have a specific quarter. Maybe it's around the holidays. Maybe it's right before school starts. Maybe you're on a retail schedule. You can be soaring for a little bit. But if you think that you're going to go back in 3 months and document things and remember them accurately and remember the exact little tweak that you had to make or a little get around to make something work better, that I promise you, you will not. Find a way to document as you go. Document what's working while it's working, right? So not after it breaks. So a lot of people want to make standard operating procedures for their company when it's broken and we're like, well, we have to go back and fix this and document how we're going to fix it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when things are working the way that you want them to work, document it. I know it's difficult if you're in that trial phase, that growing phase of like, all right, we have a problem or a process we need to document and we're experimenting right now. Well, yeah, track some of your experimentation, but as soon as you think you've got it under lock, then you actually need to go back the final time and document it front to back. And I'll tell you, I've done that. And then every single time I'm like, oh, but there's still one more thing we don't know, or there's still one more thing. So you're actually going to be testing as you're documenting. The urgency here is that when you're soaring, mistakes multiply before you can even recognize a pattern because things are coming at you like a fire hose. If you don't actually take the time or commit someone's time on your team, which would be my suggestion as a founder, I think you should have somebody else be that person, the air traffic controller, and watching what's going on to see the pattern. When you're in the muck, you can't see the pattern. Having someone else from an outside view within your company to look at this would be amazing. Third thing under process is team integration. If you're hiring and you do not have systems to onboard those folks as seamlessly as possible, you will create more chaos than it solves. New team members need clarity about what they're supposed to do. They need an understanding of why it matters, and they need autonomy to make decisions within parameters. If you've got 5 deadlines and 5 different types of deadlines, and 4 of the deadlines are follow up with the client within a week. Well, if you do it in 4 days or 5 days, it doesn't really matter, but it has to be done in 5 days. And if things get really busy, you can follow up in 6 days. So they've got wiggle room. And then you've got that fifth deadline that's actually a legal deadline. And if you miss that by so much as an hour, the whole thing comes crumbling down. If they don't understand the differences and the urgency and the understanding of why certain things matter and in what capacity, they are going to put their own judgment on it, especially as a new person that doesn't understand your entire ecosystem. And there will be issues. And sometimes they're big, bad, losing client issues. Autonomy to make decisions within parameters. This one is really important because you don't want to micromanage people forever. I am probably a very, very easygoing boss. But when things don't work, when I talk to you, you need to step up and just take it, right? And like have a discussion and not get hurt about it. We need to have a discussion about how this is going to get better going forward. I don't care what went wrong from this second backwards. I want to know what's going to be fixed from this second forwards. They need to handle that in my companies, but also make decisions within parameters that have been set. If they feel there are no parameters, they should have enough wherewithal to ask for those parameters. Each time you hire, onboarding should go faster, not slower. Every single time you run through a process, it is the opportunity to improve that process. Next up is progress, measuring what matters during chaos. When you're in the starting C, progress is really simple. Did you generate revenue? Yes or no? How much? Yes or no? Very easy. The soaring C demands much more sophisticated tracking because simple revenue metrics can hide operational dysfunction. I've had clients, I think another show, they make $10,000 a month and they spend $9,700 of it. That doesn't make any sense to me. She leaned so heavily on outside contractors to fulfill the thing that she was producing that there was really no money left after. So that was operational dysfunction. Could she have hired someone internally at a less but more steady paycheck? In that particular case, this gal was afraid to hire someone even part-time because she didn't have faith in herself to steadily produce work results, which steadily produced revenue. She felt more comfortable to overpay or pay a premium for contractors that would work on demand and that she wouldn't have to pay otherwise. But it was very, very difficult. And it was hiding dysfunction that needed to be addressed. Revenue doubling sounds like progress, right? That's where you're supposed to be until you realize that your profit margins are shrinking. I listened to tons of podcasts, and one of the hosts mentioned she would rather make less revenue at a higher profit margin than the other way around. So think about that. Would you rather make 25% less in revenue, but increase your profit margins by 50%? Do the math. Maybe you can actually do less and make more money. Client acquisition is a big one too. There's kind of this feast or famine. It depends on how your company is structured. And I know I have a couple interviews coming up that we will be talking about these specifically. So definitely subscribe. When things are feast or famine and you're in the feast side of things and everything's coming at you, there are some schools of thought that you should still take every client, right? Because you're going to hoard them all because you don't know when that famine part comes. You don't know if you're going to have the money, so you need to take everything. But taking clients you really have no business taking, you're not going to want to fulfill on those promises, and it's going to be extremely stressful. So I will say that it feels like a huge money grab during soaring, but what you need to pay attention to is sometimes, especially when you're soaring, you can't take every type of client or sell to every kind of market that you may have in the past. When you were just scrambling for revenue, you have to be, in my opinion, much more discerning at this point to make sure that you can actually fulfill on the promises that you're saying, that you have positive retention rates, those sorts of things. If you take every client, you may not be able to serve them all equally or to the best of your capabilities. And then what happens? Your quality slips, your word of mouth slips, your reputation takes a tank. It can be fixed, but I want you to measure and pay attention to the types of clients you're either attracting or signing on with when you're in the soaring phase. You may want to be more restrictive at this point and take the top quality clients that you know you can benefit the most, not just ones that meet your criteria 60, 70, 80%, because you will hate working with them going forward. So what should you actually track as far as progress goes when you're in the soaring C? You should be paying attention to your delivery capacity in relationship to demand. So it's a very typical supply demand, right? So if you're in high demand, you need to constrict or restrict your supply. Maybe that's taking less clients. Maybe that's increasing your prices. It could be a couple different things, but you have to keep your delivery capacity relative to the demand that you have generated. Next up here is quality indicators independent of volume, right? So if you always had a 4.8 Google star rating and it starts slipping, you have to go back and determine why that is. Are we just serving too many clients right now? Have we not up-ramped our staff to take on the additional work? Do we not make our widget factory go 20% faster to make more widgets? What is the lever that is actually affecting your quality going forward? And that could be satisfaction scores. It could be how many errors you have. If you're a copy editor, like how many errors or percentage of errors that are coming through. If you've got a widget coming off of a line, how many don't meet quality tests, like whatever those indicators are, that sort of thing. You also want to pay attention to referral rates. Your referral rates may slip when you're soaring because you're so busy that you can't actually hold on to this, and people sense that and they won't refer any more business to you. You should also track team sustainability, retention, how much overtime, burnout factors, things like this. Do some things for them. If it's mandatory overtime and they're on salary and they're all mad and it's the holidays or it's around their birthday and you're just like, please help us get through this. Think about one-time bonuses or performance bonuses, right? Bring in lunch for them every single day to get through this period. Upgrade their computer equipment. Give them dual monitors. Give them ergonomic stuff. Like, make their lives like a little bit more comfortable to counteract that. You should have open, frequent, and honest communication with your team as much as possible, that they're on board with you rather than just working for you through this huge bump in business. The right people will be more likely to stay with you and to help you getting through that. The wrong people, they're going to weed out and they're going to nope out that front door right away. And it's going to suck, but trust me, it's for the best. So progress red flags is vanity metrics that look great. Like, oh, we've got more likes on our Facebook post. Did it go to the bottom line? Did it give us new revenue? Did it get us new clients? If the answer is no to any of those, it looks great. I would, through at this point, and maybe not slough off all of your KPIs and OKRs, but determine what are the ones that we need to hang on to for dear life, or maybe add another one to get you through this phase. Another red flag. If you cannot articulate what progress looks like beyond more of everything. Oh, what do you need? I need more people. What do you need? I need more clients. I need more money. More is not a statistic. More is not a progress. It's not something that you can measure. Next red flag, short-term wins consistently come at long-term cost. When you're soaring, just know that everything comes at a price. And if you're not paying it now, you will be paying it 3 times later. Keep that in mind. Next is perseverance. This is endurance, not excitement. And yes, it's exciting, but honestly, for business owners that have been through some of these waves up and down in the 7 Cs, when they get to soaring, they're like, oh man, here we go. We're going to buckle on. The endurance paradox here is that growth feels effortless or looks effortless on the surface, and it creates dangerous complacency. It's like, oh, look at us. We're a well-oiled machine. We were going at 80% and now we're going at 120% and everything's going to go great. It's not. Make sure people in your company realize that the endurance paradox is real. You actually need more endurance during this successful season than when you're struggling. So when you're starting, see perseverance, because starting and soaring share a couple of the P's. So when you're in starting C, pushing through rejection and uncertainty and getting past those no's, that's what perseverance means. That in the soaring C, perseverance means choosing operational excellence over exciting opportunities. Like everybody's like, oh, ops is so boring. Like I want a big shiny sales thing and hold the big check like the real estate agents do and look at our big client and all these things. That looks sexy and exciting. Fixing your ops doesn't seem exciting except for those of us that like it. Perseverance also means building your infrastructure rather than chasing growth. During the soaring C, perseverance means buckling down and getting your basics, your infrastructure solid for the new level of growth, not the old level of growth. New level, new devil. Don't just chase growth for the sake of chasing growth. Chase infrastructure excellence. Next up is sustainable pace versus unsustainable intensity or insanity, I like to say. Intensity marketers. There's going to be periods of time that you're just going to have to do these things, but understand that they're temporary. So intensity markers is when, maybe it's like hitting the emergency brake and turning left, or maybe it's creeping up on you like a frog in hot water. Some of these intensity marketers are working increased hours. So all of a sudden you work 9 to 5, or your team work 9 to 5. Now it's 8 to 6, and now it's 8 to 7. And now they're opening up their laptop when they get home. This goes for you too. I know owners, we work 24/7. I get you. But if it's sacrificing your health, I will be the first to say that when things get intense for us at work, my food is really bad. I'm going to be completely transparent here. Yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, it's all blurring together at work. I ate a microwave burrito. I ate 2 little bags of popcorn. I had a cheese stick and an energy drink. And that's what I had for the whole day to eat. Not really good for my health, not really giving me the best physical optimum. I don't work out, I probably should, but it's not helping me be in the best physical state to do the things I need to do in a very busy season. If you understand that this is temporary, you can operate on excitement for months, right? But do understand that there will be an end to this, especially maybe not for you. I will say the owners of the company, it starts up for us first and ramps down for us last. But in the middle of the bookends is your team. If they don't see or recognize, or if they're not told explicitly and often that this will not last forever, maybe you can't give them an end date on this, but promise them and actually work towards this, because if they think that this is going to be permanent, they are not signed up for this. This is not their company. They don't love it like you do. But I will tell you, the crash always comes. The burnout, the health crisis, the relationship collapse, the decision-making deterioration, all of it. I've been burnt out. I've had health crises. A couple of years ago, I was literally in the hospital for 3 days because my heart was going cuckoo and nobody could figure out what it was. And after 3 days, they're like, "Do you have stress in your life, Mrs. Young?" And I was like, "Well, you should have probably asked me that 3 days ago. Could have saved a big hospital bill." These are things that I promise you, they always come. Everything comes at a price. Next up, protecting what got you here. What got you here is not what's going to get you there. When you're in this huge growth wave of expansion, external voices are going to be screaming at you. You need to think bigger. You need to raise capital, get investors, scale faster, do all these things. Sometimes they're right, but often they're suggesting that you abandon the values that got you here and created your success. Sometimes the solution isn't abandoning your approach, it's systematizing your method so that others can implement them. So what I want you to do is not necessarily change what you're doing. You're probably going to have to add, you're going to have to expand, you're going to have to scale. If you know this is a temporary bump, plan accordingly. But if this new soaring phase will eventually become your new sailing phase, you need to plan for that. And it's not changing what you do, it's changing who does it. Think who, not how. Bring in the who's and they will figure out the how's. Next up is prosperity. When you're thinking about progress, that's power. When you're thinking about perseverance, that's power. Prosperity is your one head sail element. And think of head sail as what heading you're setting in your yacht. Prosperity is your anchor, not the destination. When you are prosperous and you use prosperity as an anchor, it prevents you from drifting and getting someplace that you don't want to go. People always say, why is profits different than prosperity? Isn't it the same thing? Prosperity is much different. Yes, it has a little bit to do with money and revenue and profitability, but prosperity, being prosperous, has a lot more to do with the quality of life, how you share, how you help grow people, how you give back, all of these types of things, how you give back to your team, how you take finances and use them, how you take profits and use them. How are you reinvesting this? That is the prosperity piece of this. And you need to stick to that as your anchor because it will prevent you from drifting. Without this, your growth starts to pull away from the original mission. Prosperity is, what are we built on? What do we want to do? What are we all about? And if you start drifting and you're like, I'm just going to do everything at all costs, we need more people, more money, you're drifting from running the business that you never wanted. You need just enough consciousness about this to keep yourself on the right heading in your business. You need to figure out and have regular check-ins with yourself. Is this growth serving my definition of success? I have met plenty of business owners that are like, you know what? I don't want to grow. I don't want more clients. I don't need more money right now. I just don't want it because they don't want the things that come with it, right? So Is this growth serving your definition of success, or is this what the external factors say that you should be doing? Every company should be growing double digits every year. If that's not what you want, throttle back, stay where you're going to be. Conscious decision making about which opportunities to pursue is based on alignment with what you are and what you want, not just financial reward. If you're just chasing the Benjamins, prosperity is not your jam. This probably doesn't even apply to you. Hello, thank you. Why are you listening? Right now, I'm in a soaring spot. Both of my companies are soaring, and I have to maintain balance. And while I'm not necessarily a huge fan of thinking of balance between life and family and work and all these other things, I do think that it's juggling. It can't spike so high that I can't handle it. I have my own business coach that helps me sustain growth without losing values and alignment with my values that what I wanted. And I've had to lean on them and my mastermind group very heavily in the past 2 weeks because I feel like I had been sitting in a chair and I got buckled in, and now it's one of those roller coasters with the magnetic launches bolt you out at 100 miles an hour. And I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to put my safety belt on. That's what I feel like right now. So I have a group that I can go back and bounce these off of. Make sure you're doing that. Red flags for prosperity. If you cannot articulate why you're growing, like, wow, man, we are doing bang up work right now. We're getting all these clients. I don't know where it's coming from. That's bad because that means you cannot reproduce it and you cannot nurture it. If your financial success feels hollow, that's a huge prosperity red flag. That means to me, I have 2 mastermind groups that I'm part of. One is women business owner based and one is small business owner based. We've had some discussions about, wow, I'm making all this money. I thought that this is where I reached the apex of the mountain, that I would feel amazing in making all this money, but why do I feel horrible about it? Because you're not taking your profits and turning it into prosperity, and there's a huge difference. When your personal relationships become casualties of growth, that is a red flag. Make sure that you're keeping your home team solid. The last prosperity red flag is once we hit X amount of revenue, then I'll focus on my health. Then I'll focus on my relationships. Then I'll focus on like the meaning of life or the meaning of my business or whatever. And that's a dangerous one because you are associating a specific number of revenue with personal fulfillment. We think we are, but I promise you, we are not our companies. You have to separate this. When your main sale is shredding and your main sale is your power. So you might be like, strap in, let's go on this rocket ride, but things might start shredding up on you. There are unique failure patterns when it comes to the soaring sea, because if we talk about starting, right? So maybe you're a non-starter, your company doesn't kind of get off the starting line. There's failure. When you're shifting, there's a possibility of failures everywhere. But when you're soaring, it is very different. You could be stalling and sinking, and those have very specific parameters around them. But people don't think that you can actually fail when you're soaring. Failures can hide behind success metrics. It could look phenomenally successful, while internally everything is on fire and people are running around like it's pandemonium. I want you to look at these quick hit warning signs. If you as the owner are becoming more involved in operations rather than less during your soaring sea, that is a warning sign that your main sale is shredding. If quality issues correlate with volume increases, your power engine is starting to fail. If you're tracking vanity metrics while avoiding operational health indicators, your power engine is failing. If your team is burning out at an accelerated level, you're hitting the danger zone, right? If tedious operational work never happens because more urgent activities take priority, your engine for power is failing. I would also tell you to look up the Eisenhower matrix. This is the line that you're going to hold while you're soaring and while everything is coming up roses and there's mermaids singing. It's the 3-to-1 rule. I want you to pay about 75% of your attention on main sale, process, progress, perseverance, and 25% on your head sale, which is your prosperity. You are powering through in a soaring phase. Absolutely need to feed that and determine also, do you want to power on and have this be your new 0 set level of like, now I want my business to operate in this capacity all the time? Or do I know this is just a season of life and we need to deal with it, and then we are quite happy to settle back down on our normal? When opportunities arise here, This is your decision-making filter. Do I want to use this soaring to become my new sailing? Or is this just a bump up and then I want to come back down? That should be your filter for making decisions here. Now, there's also the possibility that you have to have bias towards opportunities that build your operational capacity during this phase, but also remind yourself that if you don't plan on operating like this forever, if it's some weird blip in the system, and I will say back in the COVID days, there were businesses that had a huge bump because of COVID, but I hope they realized that we weren't going to have a global pandemic forever, that it was going to come down. So those are some of the things you want to think about. The hard truth here is that the framework of soaring demands that you focus on the least exciting work during your most exciting phase. So I'm like ops, power, let's go forward, documentation, measurement, sustainability. While everyone else is celebrating your success, these are the things you need to buckle down on. These are the things that are going to keep you operating at the level if you choose to stay at this level, or at least survive getting through it. The businesses that fail during the soaring phase look successful until they suddenly aren't. And I will say this with clients of my own that I've had, I was like, wow, they are doing bang up work. The whole industry is looking at them as the gold standard. And then one day I get an email saying that they're closing shop or letting go of 90% of their staff. And you're like, where did that come from? Because they couldn't hold on. And last here on your hard truth is remember that impressive growth metrics could be hiding operational deficiencies or potential collapse. It's up to you to determine if you want this to be your new normal or if you just want to ride the wave until it fizzles out. Neglecting your head sail dreams for prosperity is dangerous. It means that you have explosive growth without operational foundation that can create spectacular failure when it appears successful in the moment, but then it collapses. You guys, you got to hold the line. You got to build the systems. You got to measure things honestly if you want to sustain your capacity. The soaring sea will test you whether or not you can maintain your discipline and your team can maintain discipline during success. Operational success and operational excellence during a high growth period creates the foundation for prosperity later. I'm Lynette Young, and I believe a rising tide raises all boats. That's why I'm here. That's why this show exists. If this episode helped you, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube Podcasts so you don't miss what's next. Leave a review to help other entrepreneurs find us, or visit us at 7seasvoyage.com. It's 7 like the number. Thank you for joining me on the Entrepreneur's Voyage. Fair winds and following seas.